my hearts, cheerily, cheerily, my hearts. Yar, yar, take in the topsail, tend to the master's whistle. Blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough.
Good boatswain, have care. Where's the master? Please, master.
I pray now, keep below.
Where's the master, boatswain?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep your cabins, you do assist the storm.
Nay, good. Be patient.
When the sea is, hence, what cares these roars for the name of king? To cabin, silence, trouble us not.
Good. Yet whom thou hast aboard.
None that I more love than myself. Out of our way, I say.
We have great comfort from this fellow. He thinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect, gallows. Stand fast, good fate, to his hand. Make both in the our cable, for our own doth little again. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast. Yar, lower, lower. Bring her to try with a main course. Break upon this howling. They're louder than the weather or our office. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A pox of your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, incharitable dog!
Work you then!
Hang her, hang you, poor son, insolent maker. We have less free to be drowned than thou art.
I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell and as leaky as an unstanched wrench.
Lay her hold, a hold, set her 2 courses, off to sea again. Lay her
All lost! To prayers, to prayers! All lost!
What, must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince are at prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is at theirs.
I am out of patience.
We are merely cheated of our lives by brokers. This wide-chopped rascal, thou mightst crowned with 10 tides.
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against him and gape at wits to glute him.
Let's all sing.
Let's take leave of him.
Now I would give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground, long heath, brown forest, anything. The will's above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them! Oh, I have suffered with those I saw suffer. Oh, a brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creature in her death to pieces. Oh, the cry to knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished.
Be collected, no more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who are ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. So lie there, my art, wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered that there is no soul, no not so much perdition as a hair, that did to any creature in the vessel, which thou heardest cry, which thou sawest sank. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou was not out 3 years old.
Oh, certainly, sir, I can. 'Tis far off and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. 12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are you not my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter. And thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir, and princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence?
My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio. I pray thee, mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time, through all the signories, it was the first, and Prospero, the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel. Those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which, but by being so retired, overprized all popular rate, and my false brother awakened an evil nature. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in his contrary, as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit. To credit his own lie, he did believe he was indeed the duke, out of the substitution executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence, his ambition growing, dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
Now the condition. This king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkened my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage and I know not how much tribute, shall presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Alack, for pity! Oh, I not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it over again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some legions to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quit it. There they hoist us to cry out to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. So of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can, that have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm?
No, thus far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my presence I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court none, but admit my fortunes were ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master, grave sir, hail! I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel and all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now in the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and bowsprit would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was not so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me. The king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, Hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook, where once thou calledst me up at midnight to fetch dew, the mariners all under hatches stowed, who, with a charm joined to their suffered labor, I have left asleep.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time 'twixt 6, and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, moody? What is it thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out? No more.
I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bate me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinkest much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost?
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgettest. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible, thou knowest was banished.
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou did reportest thyself, was then her servant to act her earthly and abhorred commands. Refusing her grand hest, she did confine me, by the help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou did painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans. What torment did I find thee in? Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the breasts of ever angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take the shape, and hither come in it. Go, hence with diligence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answers.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But, as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho, slave Caliban? Thou earth, thou speak.
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise. When, thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me, when thou camest first. Thou struckest me and made much of me, wouldn't give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, brine pits, barren place and fertile. Cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you, for I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you stye me in this hard rock, whiles you do keep me from the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with humane care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or another.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hagseed, hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be quick. Thou art best to answer to other business. Struttest thou, malice? If thou neglectest or doth unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar, that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee. I must obey. His art is of such power.
So, slave, hence.
Come unto these yellow sands, and then take hands. Curtsied when you have and kissed, the wild waves whist. Footed featly here and there, and sweet spread spare. Hark, I hear.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more, and sure it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again, the king, my father's wrack.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly ring his knell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yond.
What is it? A spirit? It carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench, it eats and sleeps, and hath such senses as we have, such. This gal which thou seest was in the rack.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
Goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer may know, if you remain upon this island, that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
Oh, my language, heavens! I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How the best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing as I am now that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since it ebbed beheld the king, my father, racked.
Alack for mercy!
They have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that ever I saw, the first that ever I sighed for. Pity move my father to be inclined my way.
Soft, sir, one word more. They are both in each other's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more, I charge thee that thou attend me.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit hath so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Follow me. Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come.
No, I'll resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What, I say, my tutor? Put thy sword up, traitor, who makest a show, but darest not to strike, thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick, and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hence, hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What, an advocate for an impostor? Hush. Thou thinkest there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, weakness which I feel, the wrack of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued are but light to me.
It works. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwonted, which now came from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come follow. Speak not for him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all, of joy, for our escape is much beyond our loss. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give him over so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Whenever grief is entertained that's offered, comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Dollar comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you proposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord.
Why, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue.
I prithee, spare.
Well, I have done. But yet,
Though this island seem to be desert, uninhabitable and almost inaccessible,
Yet
the air breathes upon us here most sweetly,
as if it had lungs and rotten ones.
or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
here's everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
The ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
As many vouched rarities are.
that our garments, being, as they were, drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and gloss, but being rather new dyed than stained with salt water. Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Afric, as the message of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the king of Tunis.
Cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sons. Would I had never married my daughter there for coming thence my son is lost, and in my hate she too. Who is so far from Italy removed, I never shall see her. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on me?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He drawed the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swole that met him. His bold head bove the contentious ways he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his way-worn basis rode, as stooping to relieve him. I no doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
So you may thank yourself for this great loss that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, spare.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between lothness and obedience, at which end the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of loss.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most chirurgeonly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord?
He'd sow it with nettle seed.
Or docks, or mallows?
And were the king on it, what would I do? I was with such perfection governed, sir, I excel the golden age.
Save his majesty!
Long live Gonzalo.
And do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am I nothing to you? So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow there was given.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You are a gentleman of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere, she would continue it in 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go about fouling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep? For I am very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
What, all so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would, with themselves, shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. If seldom visits sorrow, when it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest, and watch your safety.
Thank you, wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find myself not disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian, oh, what might? No more. My strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say?
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade, the king his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope that way is another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis, she that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life, she that from Naples we were all sea swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act, whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you?
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death that now has seized them, why, they were no worse than now they are. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do, what a sleep were this for your advancement! Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True, and look how well my garments sit upon me, much feeder than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows, now they are my men.
But for your conscience?
Aye, sir, where lies that? 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon, if he were that which now he's like, that's dead. Whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever. Whiles you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink for I might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not upbraid our corpse.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gotst Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. 1 stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo.
My master through his art foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, for else his project dies, to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy, his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake.
Let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels preserve the king.
Why, how now, ho? Awake. Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Whilst we stood here, securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls, or rather, lions. Did it not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, or make an earthquake. Sure it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon my honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked, sir, and cried. As mine eyes opened, I saw the weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my portion.
Heavens keep him from these beasts, for he is, sure, in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. Go, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All the infections the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inchmeal a disease. His spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pinch, fright me with urchin shows, pinch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark. Out of my way, unless he bid 'em. But for every trifle are they set upon me. Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me, for bringing wood in slowly. I'll fell flats, perchance he will not mind me.
Here's neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm blowing. I hear it sing in the wind. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one. Looks like a foul bombard that would get his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. Oh, what have we here? A man or a fish? Dead or alive? A fish. He smells like a fish. A very ancient and fish-like smell. A kind of not of the newest porridge on. A strange fish. Were I in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there but would give a piece of silver. There would make this monster a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a penny to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. legs like a man, and his fins like arms. Warmer my trough, I do now let loose my opinion, hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Ah, alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the dregs of the storm be past.
I shall no more to sea, to sea. Here shall I die ashore. The master, the swabber, the boatswain and I, the gunner and his loved them all, Meg and Marion and Marguerite, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had a tongue, a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. This is a scurvy tune too, but here's my comfort.
Do not torment me, oh.
What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon the savages and men of Ind? Ha! I have not escaped drowning to the feared now of your 4 legs.
The spirit torments me, oh.
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs, who hath got, as I take it, an ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief, if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now, and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. Come on your ways. Open your mouth. Here's that which will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking. I can tell you, and that's only.
I should know that voice. It should be... but he is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me!
4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster.
Stefano?
Doth thy other mouth call me? Mercy, mercy. This is a devil, and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stefano, if thou beest Stefano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeard, thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou be Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by the lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed.
I took him to be killed with a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned, Stefano? I hope now thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead mooncalf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stefano? Oh, Stefano, do Neapolitan scape.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, and if they be not sprites, that's a brave god and bears celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How dost thou escape? How camest thou hither?
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then how thou escapest.
Swim ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee and her, and I do adore thee.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I, afeard of him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon, a most poor credulous monster.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot, I prithee, be my god.
Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A most scurvy monster. I could find it in my heart to beat it.
I'll show thee the best springs, I'll pluck thee berries, I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. Plague upon the tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I with my long nails will dig thee pignuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get the young scamels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I prithee now, lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king, and all our company else being drowned, we will inherit here.
Farewell, master, farewell, farewell.
Howling monster. A drunken monster.
O brave monster, lead the way.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kind of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he is composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors.
Alas now, pray you, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you are enjoined to pile. Pray, set it down and rest you. My father is hard at study. Pray now rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature. I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my good will is to it, and yours it is against. You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I've broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath under bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more than I may call men than you, good friend. I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape besides herself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I'm in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure the wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly below my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
O heaven, O earth, bear witness to this sound. I, beyond all limit of what else in the world, do love, prize, honor you.
Oh, I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. Oh, but this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence, bashful cunning, and prompt me, plain and holy innocence. I am your wife if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
I, with a heart as willing as bondage ever freedom. Here's my hand.
With my heart in it. And now farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer that by his cunning hath cheated me of the island. I say by sorcery he got this isle. For me he got it. If thy greatness will, revenge it on him. For I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this become past? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, yea, my lord, I'll yield thee asleep, where thou mayst knock a nail into his head. Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayst bring him, having first seized his books, or with a log batter his skull, or pounce him with a stake, or cut his weasand with thy knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he is but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books. He has brave utensils, for so he calls them, which, when he has a house, he'll deck withal, and that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her non-parallel. I never saw a woman but only Sycorax, my dame, and she, but she as far surpasses Sycorax as greatest as least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Ay, lord, she'll become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen, save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us be jocund. Will you troll the catch you taught me, but will ye?
At thy request, monster, I will do reason. Any reason. Come on, Trinculo, let us sing. Flout him and cout him, and scout him and flout him. Thought is free.
That's not the tune.
What is this same?
This is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, take it as thou list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears, and sometimes voices that, if I then had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again, and then in dreaming the clouds methought would open, and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, when I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it and do after our work.
Lead, monster, we'll follow. I would I could see this tabor. He lays it on. Wilt come?
I'll follow, Stefano.
By Lakin, I can go no further, sir. My old bones aches. Here's a maze trod indeed through 4 years. By your patience, I needs must rest me.
Well, Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attacked with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer from my father. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose that you resolve to effect.
The next advantage will we take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight. For now they are oppressed with travel. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this, my good friends? Hark!
Marvelous sweet music.
Give us, kind keepers. Heavens, what were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe there are unicorns.
And what does else want credit come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers never did lie, the fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes those are people of the island, who though they are of monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more gentle, kind, than of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Cannot too much muse, such shapes, such gestures, and such sound, expressing although they want the use of the tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
They vanished strangely.
No matter, since they have left their vines behind, for we have stomachs. Will it please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there are mountaineers dewlapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 will bring us foreign of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the duke, stand to and do as me.
You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny, that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in't, the never surfeited sea hath caused to belch up you, and on this island where man doth not inhabit, you mongst men being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. Your swords are now too massy for your strengths, and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea, which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers, delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Be of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here, in this most desolate isle, else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart's sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. My heart charms work, and those mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange chair?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous! Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prosper. It did bask my trespass, therefore my sin in the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than ever plough did sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time. I'll fight their legions, or...
I'll be thy second.
All 3 of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now begins to bite their spirits. I do beseech you that are of suppler joint, follow them swiftly and hinder them from what the ecstasy may now provoke them to.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends, for I have given you here 1/3 of mine own life, that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast of her, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it. against an oracle.
Then, as my gift and thine own acquisition, worthily purchased, take my daughter.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion, or worser genius, shall never melt mine honor into lust.
Fairly spoke. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. What, Ariel, my industrious servant Ariel?
What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy meaner fellows your last service did worthily perform, and I must use you in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble, over whom I give thee power, here to this palace, incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently?
Aye, with a twink.
Well, I conceive.
I forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Well done. Avoid. No more.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
Never till this day saw I him touched with anger, so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are vanished into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherits shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a wreck behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
We wish
We wish your peace.
Come with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel. Come.
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave those varlets?
I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air. At last I left them, in the filthy mantled pool beyond their cell. There dancing up to the chins, that the foul lake o'erstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house. Go get it, go bring it hither. We sail to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come, hang them on this line.
Pray you, tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We are now near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than play the joke with us.
Monster, I do smell a horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look.
Thou wert but a lost monster.
Good, my lord, give me thy favour still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to who shall woodwink this mischance. Therefore speak softly. All's hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wedding. Yet this is your harmless fairy monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be o'er ears for my labor.
Prithee, my king, be quiet. Seest thou here? This is the mouth of the cell. No noise, and enter. Do the good mischief which may take this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for aye thy foot liquor.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stefano, oh, here, a worthy Stefano, look what a wardrobe is here for thee.
Let it alone, thou fool. It is but trash.
Oh, monster, we know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stefano,
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
thy grace shall have it.
The dropsy drowned this fool. What do you mean to dote thus on such luggage? Let it alone, and do the murder first. If he awake from toe to crown, he'll fill our skin with pinches, make us strange stuff.
Be you quiet, monster. Mistress Line, is not this my jerkin? Now is the jerkin under the line. Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do. We steal by line and level, and like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Here's a garment for it, which shall go unrewarded when I'm king of this country. Steal by line and level is an excellent passipate. There's another garment for it.
Monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers, and away with the rest.
I will have none on it. We shall lose our time and all be turned to barnacles or to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay your fingers. Help to bear this away or my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn down on my kingdom. Go to, carry this.
And this.
I and this.
Fury, there, tyrant, there, hark, hark! Go, charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than pard or catamountain.
Hark, they roar!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. For a little, follow and do me service. Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with this carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, ye said our work should cease.
I did say so when I first raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, all prisoners, sir, in the vine grove which weather fens your cell. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. But chiefly him that you termed, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears runs down his beard like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works him that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch of feeling of their afflictions, and shalt not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passionate they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, but with my nobler reason gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend, not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
You elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes, and groves, and you that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune, and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, where the you not bites, and you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms, that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though you be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. Strong braced promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let them forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, when I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, buried in certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. A solemn air and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy, cure thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand, for your spell stopped, holy Gonzalo, honorable man. Mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine, fall fellowy drops. The charm dissolves apace, and so as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver and a loyal sir, to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse in nature, whom, with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. The understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them thought that yet looks on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me and myself present as I were sometime Milan. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip's bell I lie. There I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's back I do fly. After summer merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art. There shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain being awake, and force them to this place, and presently I prithee.
I drink the air before me, and return ere your pulse twice beat.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance than that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Wherefore thou beest here now, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me as late I've been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear man to help me. This must crave, and if this be at all a most strange story, thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat, thou pardon me my wrongs, but how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. That you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I here could pluck his highness's frown upon you, and justify you traitors. At this time I will tell no tales.
The devil speaks in him.
No. For you, most wicked sir, to whom to call brother would even infect my mouth. I do forgive thy rankest faults, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation, how thou hast met us here, whom 3 hours since were wracked upon this shore, where I have lost, how sharp the point of thy remembrances, my dear son Ferdinand.
I am well for it, sir.
Irreparable is loss, and patience says it's past to cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
As great to me as late, and supportable to make the dear loss have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you. For I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh heavens, that they were living both in Naples, the king and queen there. That they were, I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. Where did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest, I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason, and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth, their words are natural breath. But howsoever you have been justled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very duke which was thrust for the Milan, who most strangely upon this shore where you were racked was landed, to be the lord on it. No more yet of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day. Not a relation for breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir, this sells my court. Here have I few attendants, and subjects not abroad. Pray you, look in. My dukedom since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing, at least bring forth a wonder to content you as much as me my dukedom.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle!
Those who threaten they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder! How many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is! Oh, brave new world that has such people in it!
'Tis new to thee.
Maid, with whom thou wast at play. Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that hath severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renowned, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life. And second father this lady makes him to me.
I am hers. But oh, how oddly will it sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop the blessed crown, for it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan, or that his issue should become king of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with golden lasting pillars in one voyage. To Claribel her husband find it Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife, for he himself was lost, Prospero his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so. Amen. Oh, look, sir, here's more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now blasphemy, that swears grace overboard, now an oath to shore? Hath the mock by land? What is the news?
The best news is that we have safely found our king and company. The next, our ship, which, but 3 glasses since, we gave out split, is tight and yarn bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how, we know not, all clapped under hatches. Where, but even now, with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were awakened, straightway at liberty, where we, in all her trim, freshly beheld our royal, good, and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her. On a trice, so please you, even in a dream we were divided from them, and were brought moping hither.
This is as strange a maze as ever men trod, and there is in the business more than nature was ever conducted. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At pick leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which you shall seem probable, of every these happen accidents. Till when, be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Every man shift for all the rest, and let no man take care of himself, for all is but fortune.
If these be true spies which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Oh, set of bows, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my master is! I am afraid he will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy 'em?
Very like. One of them is a plain fish and no doubt marketable.
Mark what the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness, I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stefano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
In Trinculo's wheeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gelded 'em? How camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last, that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear fly blowing.
Why, how now, Stefano?
Oh, touch me not. I am not Stefano, but a cramp.
You'd be king of the isle, sirrah?
I should have been a sore one then.
Stranger thing as ever I looked on.
It is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, sirrah, to my cell, take with you your companions, as you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter, and seek for grace. What a thrice double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god, and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away!
Hence and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourses I, not doubt, shall make it go quick away. The story of my life and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I hope to see the nuptial of these our dear beloved solemnized. And thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, but you must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sail so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements, be free and fare thou well. Please you, draw near. Now my charms are all overthrown, and what strength I have is my own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true, I must here be confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver dwell in this here island by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardon be, let your indulgence set me free.